What's up, guys? It's MB Boxing, and today I'm going to be predicting the outcome of Roger Gutierrez versus Hector Garcia, and this is going to be a 12-rounder for the WBA Super-Featherweight World Championship, and this fight is going to be Saturday, August 20th, from the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Hollywood, Florida, and this fight is going to be broadcasted on Showtime. And to get at both fighters' resumes, Roger Gutierrez, fighting out of Venezuela, holds a record of 26 wins with 3 defeats and 1 draw, with 20 wins coming by way of knockout. He's currently not ranked by BoxRec due to inactivity. However, he is the current WBA Super-Featherweight World Champion. And to first of all list all 3 of his losses and his 1 draw, he has a unanimous decision defeat to Rene Alvarado in their first fight. He has a unanimous decision defeat to Hector Tanajara, and he also has a knockout loss to Oscar Duarte. However, to list his one and only draw, it came by split decision against Alfredo Mirabal. But to list some of his best victories, he has some solid ones. He defeated prospect at the time who was undefeated, Rocky Hernandez, by first-round knockout, and he was able to get 2 unanimous decision victories in very, very good fights over Rene Alvarado in their second and third fight. But to get his opponent's resume, Hector Garcia, fighting out of the Dominican Republic, holds an unbeaten record of 15-0 with 10 wins coming by way of knockout. He has a generous number 7 ranking spot by BoxRec in the super featherweight division, despite not having fought that tough competition aside from his last fight. But to list some of his best victories, he has a split decision win over Anvar Yanusov, a unanimous decision victory over Isaac Abayar, and he's coming off, like I said, his best win over Chris Colbert by a dominant unanimous decision. But yet again, Colbert himself didn't really test himself at the highest level too, but still it was a very nice upset win that definitely should have got him into the top 15, but the top 10, I don't know. I guess super featherweight isn't the most competitive or super competitive division when it comes to the BoxRec's point system, but number 7 for just having that one fight is pretty odd. But to get more into that Chris Colbert fight, Roger Gutierrez was supposed to fight Chris Colbert that night, but Gutierrez had to pull out, and Garcia stepped in, and it was for the winner of that fight would face Roger Gutierrez. So, and the thing is, Garcia came in as a big underdog. I thought he was going to get dominated. Everyone thought he was going to get dominated, but then he ultimately just bullied Chris Colbert, came forward, dropped him, dominated him, won almost every single round aside from some of the earlier ones. And yeah, he got a wide unanimous decision victory. But in my opinion, this fight, I thought it was pretty tough to predict at first when it was announced. I thought that, who knows, maybe Gutierrez could get some knockdowns, could win the fight. But because, the thing is, I thought that because Gutierrez was coming off 2 very solid, dog fights over Rene Alvarado, where they were both just literally exchanging and giving it their all. Though he had some excellent fights with Rene Alvarado, but now I think that I'm pretty comfortable and confident to say that I think that Garcia is going to get a decision victory here. I think that Roger Gutierrez could drop Hector Garcia in the early rounds. In the first 4, he might catch him cold with one shot. It'll be flash knockdown. He'll get back up. I think that Garcia would battle back. I'm not saying it's going to 100% happen, but I could definitely see it happening. I could definitely see Garcia getting dropped inside the first 4 rounds. Because that's exactly what happened in his fight against Isaac Abayar. And he does have a very similar style to Gutierrez, does Abayar, because Abayar comes forward a bit with some nice pressure, with some nice pop in his punches, and that's exactly what Roger Gutierrez mostly does in his fights. Aside from when he fought Rene Alvarado, who is really the prime aggressor, he was able to box in mid-range and also come forward in his own moments. But I think in this fight, it'll be very interesting to see if Hector Garcia comes forward on a guy with such great power as Gutierrez, because Gutierrez, we saw when he fought Alvarado the second time, Alvarado was just coming forward, he would get clipped, and then he would go down. That just shows that Gutierrez could have the power to really just end the fight with one punch, because he was just dropping Alvarado with just some punches out of nowhere. But Hector Garcia, when he fought Abayar, he got dropped in the first round with a check left hook. He got caught cold. He came back up, battled back, and then dominated the rest of the fight. But I'm not saying that Abayar is going to be exactly like Gutierrez, because Gutierrez is at a whole different level. He's 10 times better than Abayar. So I think the pressure fighting will most likely in this fight actually be from Garcia, and that's why I think that Gutierrez could score an early knockdown here because he did it the same way to Rene Alvarado inside the first 4 rounds in their second fight. And then Garcia also got dropped by Avar inside the first round in their fight. So this could be very interesting, and this could be a different dynamic to the fight that I think that Gutierrez will probably drop or probably score a flash knockdown over Garcia inside the first 4 rounds, and that could be big on the points because I think this fight could be close regardless, and I think it will go the distance actually, but I think nonetheless it could be pretty tight because I think that Garcia, based on his last fight and some of his other fights, will be the aggressor in this fight since training with the camp of Ismael Salas and whatnot. He's looked much more technical, much more accurate with his punches, much more composed as well. So I think he will be much more accurate here. He'll just simply be outlanding Gutierrez, but I think Gutierrez will be landing some nice shots at mid-range, trying to counter Garcia, trying to catch him with like one shot, and really just trying to place his shots. But I think that Garcia will throw some nice combinations to the body and to the head and work some nice shots. And yeah, I think that after 4 rounds, let's just say after 4, I think that it could be like 39-37 for Garcia. It could be 38-38. I mean, who knows if Gutierrez comes out pretty strong in this fight. But, I mean, I think Gutierrez, when I've seen some of his fights, he actually comes more on or actually does better in sort of the latter half and in the second half of the fight. Because he's got a pretty decent gas tank, actually. So I think that, yeah, like after 4 rounds, it could be 39-37 for Garcia. Like Gutierrez might edge or pretty tight, like sort of feel-out round inside those first 4 rounds. But then I think like rounds 5 and 6, they might also go to Garcia because Garcia in the first half of this fight will have the most gas, obviously. He'll have the most stamina. He'll be throwing the most punches. So I think that those could go to Garcia. But I think that somewhere around like the start of the middle rounds, Gutierrez will start to land more punches on the outside, really start to, as I said before, just start to land more punches, start to be more comfortable, more composed. He'll start getting in more of a rhythm, and I think that Garcia will start to come forward, obviously, or he'll still be coming forward, but he'll start to get hit with more punches, and it'll just be much more of a close fight. And I think that like rounds 7 and 8, like after 6, I think it could be 59-55, maybe, just maybe 50-56 for Gutierrez. But I think rounds 7 and 8, or I think it will be 58-56, maybe, or 59-55 most likely in favor of Garcia after 6. But I think rounds 7 and 8 could go to Roger Gutierrez, as I think that he'll start to pick it up. He'll start to come on a bit more. He'll start to just have more success in those sort of middle to late rounds. And, yeah, I think that after 7 rounds, it could be like 68-65 maybe for Garcia, something like that, like a pretty tight fight on the scores. But then I think like rounds 8 and 9 could be pretty tight because I think that Garcia will start to find some more openings to his shots after he sees like what Gutierrez did to adjust and start to land more shots. And I think that rounds 8 and 9 could be split. And I think that, I mean, maybe after 9 rounds, it could be 87-84, maybe at closest 86-85, but that's, I mean, who knows? But I think most likely 87-84 after 9, because I think that in rounds 8 and 9, they'll either be split 1-1, like one of them winning round 8, one of them winning round 9, or it could be like Garcia picks up on Gutierrez's rhythm and then just starts to outwork him a bit in those rounds, and it could lead to him winning them, and it could be 87-84, like I said. So, yeah, it could be something like that. But then in rounds 10, 11, and 12, like the main championship rounds, I think that Gutierrez could make it a bit tight, might win 2 of those rounds, might win 1 of them actually, and it could closen up the fight. But I think the rounds that Gutierrez will win will be pretty tight rounds that could go either way based on his style of fighting. But for Garcia, I think that nonetheless, if he wins the round, they're going to give it to him, I think so, because his style is much more, I guess you could say, easy to score points for. But Gutierrez, in this fight, I think he will be more of the one fighting in mid-range, although he can most definitely 100% come forward. I just think that in this fight, Garcia, I mean, considering that in almost every single one of his fights, he's the one coming forward, I think that he will be the aggressor although Gutierrez, I think he will be coming forward a bit in this fight. I think that the main aggressor will be Garcia, and I think that rounds 10, 11, and 12, two of them out of the three, or one of them could go to Gutierrez. Definitely at least one, because I think that he'll just start to really just throw everything out there in those last couple rounds to just defend his title. But I don't think it will be enough on the judges' scorecards because, like I said, I think that Garcia's style is a bit more easy to score points for, and I think that he will get a close. I think a somewhat clear unanimous decision victory, actually. I think that one judge could have it more wide for Garcia, favoring his work at 117, 111. I think that one judge could have it 116, 112, sort of more in the middle and more fair. And I think that one judge will have it a bit tighter for Gutierrez, but still obviously in Garcia's favor at 115 to 113. So comment down below your thoughts on this fight and who you think is going to win. So overall, I believe that Hector Garcia will become the new WBA Super Featherweight World Champion, as I think he will get a pretty clear unanimous decision victory over Roger Gutierrez. And I think that the judges will score this bout 117 to 111, 116 to 112, and 115 to 113, obviously all in favor of Hector Garcia. And yeah, that's really it. I'm MB Boxing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.